I'm working.
Good morning, period. No staff on the Zoom team meeting yet.
You want to pull rotor, you can go start.
Yeah.
Or whatever. and start
No, it's
from-
okay. It's a new environment, so I'm trying to figure this out. Oh,
Open the one that's like. Leave the others alone, just open the one. This one's mine. Box around it.
Yeah, so the training is really second to none.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna have to open
We
your face
were,
looking long.
2018.
Want me to do it? If you don't
Training
mind,
magazine.
I bet you'll be faster.
Or basically, as Gary says, congratulations, you dropped you well, they retired you. But we were the only real estate firm in the top 25. And so, yeah, the training, I mean, the login indicator you connect.
Yeah.
There's really
Oh,
nothing you
just
can't
need
do.
to stop.
The cool thing is they test like me and they test Cece like Cece went on a daily basis almost now.
What are we doing?
Us getting tested by the region to make
I know, I'm
sure
still
that,
waiting for my big one.
to make sure that we're doing it the right way. Like I did,
Yeah.
I did embedded in the role for 6 months before I finished.
Oh, wow.
So like, yeah, they don't.
But I-
It's
Oh,
the
that's
phrase
good.
is slow to hire, quick to fire, or de-hire, as we say. So if it's not a fit, then cut it, move on. If it is, there's going to be steps all the way up the ladder. So I think it's a very well run.
Yeah, there's
We're
Terry.
getting there.
Oh, Terry got my message about talking
New normal.
fast. You on Facebook too?
I'm getting there.
I thought that wasn't working anymore.
It's intermittent.
I have it set up over here if you want to do it off the iPad.
How many overs do you?
So we have 203 as of last month, right at about 100 here, about 45 or so at Huntersville, and mid-60s, I would say. So maybe fluctuator. So,
You're gonna be nice to me today?
here, I'll just run it from here.
Nope, I got it. It's on.
Is it going to cut off like it did before?
Well, it might. I can't predict that.
I don't control everything.
Well, you need to, all right? Figure it out.
I get to go downstairs and log on all that stuff.
You don't need it for anything.
Which screen are we sharing?
You're sharing the slide.
If I hit the right
Right there.
one.
There we go. There are other people. For a second.
Can't see them and that at the same time.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah. Okay.
They're on the side.
All right. Hey, guys, how we doing?
Adjust this down a little bit.
You guys hear me?
Yeah,
Thumbs
we
up?
can hear you.
All right, guys. So who was on with Mark Willis?
Oh, I was. That was awesome.
Yeah, very good.
That was really good. If you guys weren't and you missed it, Cece did a recording of it. So we'll get that out to you guys. We're gonna move pretty quickly today because we've got as I think you guys know, we're in the top 200 market centers in the world for Keller Williams. So if you guys don't know what that means, there's 833 market centers in the world, and they're in 44 different countries. Last year, we finished the year at number 66, so we're going to get that number higher. Yet being a part of the top 200, guys, I get to do a really cool thing 4 times a year. I get to go to a meeting with Gary Keller. Now, usually we're flying down to Austin, Texas for that meeting. Now what's going on is obviously virtually through Zoom. So we actually got to talk to Gary Keller, not last Friday, the Friday before, as he was sitting in his office at his house. And the really cool thing, guys, is they're going to make this a monthly thing now. So we're going to get to hear it directly from the horse's mouth on a monthly basis. He shared a really, really cool interview with Keith Cunningham. Does anybody know who Keith Cunningham is? It's okay if you don't. Has anybody ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki?
Mm-hmm.
What book did he write? Who knows?
Robert Kiyosaki.
Hey,
Rich
our
Dad,
guest
Poor
is
Dad.
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's right. And guys, we have a guest here who's checking our office out right now, Kelly, and she was the first one to answer. So you guys ought to pick a game up, okay? Anyways, I'm kidding. So Keith is the Rich Dad in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he's a friend of Gary Keller's. Gary Keller did a really cool interview with him, and it's about 37 minutes long, okay? So just want you to know, and we are going to play that today. So we're going to move fairly quickly so we can get to that. Guys, do not just put this off and not look at it. Take some notes. There's some really good things that Keith's talking about in regards to getting back after post-COVID-19 and what we can see that our competitors are doing or not doing that we can take advantage of. So we're going to jump right into team meeting here. Okay. Technology is fascinating. There we go. Jumped way ahead. All right. So let's start off with tell me something good. What do you guys got? What's good in your world right now? Don't everybody jump at once.
So I've been having some problems with Command, but a huge shout out to Matt Sarver. Like, he was the only one that solved it. Figured it out this morning. So I'm moving forward on. Way to go, Matt.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, moving forward now. I can check that off my list, and it kind of clears up a couple of other things that I think I now can apply to other parts of it. And so checking that off and moving forward. So that is huge on my list. So thank you very much, Matt.
Awesome, Karen. Thank you for sharing. And thank you, Matt. Good bucket fill. What else, guys? Tell me something good.
Yeah, I got something good. My father and I are putting together our Facebook ad, our $30 Facebook ad, and my dad's figuring it out and trying to get some of those buyer leads and some of the seniors that he's working with. So we've been working on that together to get Pettit Home Team out there, but good stuff for my dad doing that.
Awesome. And guys, don't forget, there'll be an email going out later today. We need to get all that stuff in by the end of the month, okay, for the reimbursements. If you guys have any questions, message me later. Awesome. Thank you, Rob. And I'll tell you something really good. If you guys haven't seen it yet, Rob's handlebar mustache, his quarantine mustache is on point. What else, guys? So I've got something I want to tell you guys that's really good. As you guys know, when this whole thing started, the biggest thing that the region came down on us was getting around and cutting expenses, right? You guys, I'm sure in your individual businesses, give me a yes, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay. So we had to cut expenses. I got to give a huge shout out to Cece because she totally embraced cutting expenses. And when we looked at last month's numbers and saw where our expenses were, some of you on the ALC are familiar with the pink and green exercise. And we go to green when we have an increase of 10%. On an expense side, anything negative or a savings gets green. Well, I'll tell you, not only did she exceed 10% negatively, she increased 20%. She got us down negative 26% on our month-over-month expenses. Guys, that is huge. And for the year, that puts us down, I think, 8.4% overall expenses. So guys, if you have any questions about where our office is going right now, guys, we have trimmed the fat right down to the bone. Nobody else in the region has cut expenses by that much. So give a round of applause to Cece. Great job, Cece. Thank you very much.
Good job.
That's huge, guys. All right, moving on. Guys, I see Sandy on the Zoom, so let's all welcome Sandy Sacco. She is our new agent who has just joined us this month. She is relocated here. She is new to real estate. Yet if you have a conversation with this woman, she is very intelligent. She knows what she's doing. I think she's already a full broker and got all of her post licensing out of the way, which I'm getting verification from both Rachel and Cece that she is. So congratulations, Sandy. And she's jumped right into the productivity coaching group. So guys, watch that name, Sandy Sacco. She's going to be kicking butt and maybe give all you guys a run for your money. So congratulations and welcome, Sandy. All right, so we've got some birthdays. Today, Craig Anderson's birthday, right? Today's 12th? Okay, yep. We got Rebecca Bose, Christy Lombardozzi, excuse me, Lynn Hunter, Amanda Chavez, Matt, Melissa, Zach, Jeremy, Katie, and Christy Ray. So guys, all their birth dates are right there. Of course, Rachel does a really good job of on Facebook getting those out to everybody. So please wish them a happy birthday. If you haven't reached out to Craig yet, give him a shout out today. Congratulations to Shannon Edwards. She has capped this month, so enjoy your 100% commission for the remainder of your anniversary date. Good job, Shannon. Our new full brokers. So Danielle, Brooke, Chuck, Deb, Ruby.
Hey.
Hey, Chuck. Sandy, Renee, Evan, Carlos, and Sue have all dropped their provisional broker status and become full brokers. So congratulations to them as well. Good job, guys. Rob really likes that because then if you guys get in trouble, his license isn't affected. So good job.
Yeah, great job, guys. That's really good to bust that out. Congratulations.
Okay, I want to give a huge shout out to Shannon Avison, and I'm going to sit on this for a second as being our provisional broker of the month. Shannon joined us in January, I believe, and being somebody who's brand new to the business, brand new to Keller Williams, to real estate, everything, she's jumped right in. It's kind of funny. She's in the productivity coaching program. Nod, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you guys aren't picking up the flow right now, okay? She's also stepped up and started teaching command training. Okay, guys? She has done a great job, and I don't mean that to flood her with people like, oh, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Yet she's really showing the training and what we emulate at Keller Williams. So awesome, awesome job, Shannon, and good job being PB of the month. Tom Maddox. Some of you guys may not know Tom yet. Tom has transferred over from university. He's been here for a couple months now. I want to say 2 going on 3. Tom has been the #1 guy on all of the trainings, all of the pivot with PJs, everything. Tom has been all around that and all over it. So Tom, huge, huge shout out. And he's never misses a happy hour. Okay. Even when he's cutting down trees in his backyard, he stops to have a beer and get on happy hour. So good job, Tom. And congratulations on being agent of the month. Rob, give us a rundown from the Vic, please.
Okay, real quick. I just want to say that effective on May 1st, there is 2 new listing agreements that are effective. The single family listing agreement and the vacant land single family listing agreement. Those both new forms are as attachments on our Facebook group page. They have been submitted to DocuSign, so they will be uploaded there shortly when DocuSign does that. If you need a copy immediately and can't find it on the group, just email me and I'll send you a copy right away. So that's for all new listings, single family or vacant land, effective May 1st. Second other point I want to make an attention to is the MLS has now adopted clear cooperation. So what that means that listings must be entered into the MLS 24 hours after marketing a property to the public. That means putting a sign up, putting an ad on Facebook, making a flyer, doing a blast email. You can still do it coming soon. However, you cannot do any marketing or put up any signs. Once you do that, you must put that property in the MLS within 24 hours. So if you have any questions about that, that is MLS's new clear cooperation policy. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Rob. And I'm just going to dovetail on the end of that, guys. Go and check if you guys have a team or if you guys have your own systems and policies and procedures. It used to be 48 hours. So go and update whatever systems or models you guys are using because it's now 24, not 48. Right, Rob?
Correct. 24 hours must be entered into the MLS as soon as you do any public marketing.
Perfect. Thanks, Rob.
Welcome.
Okay, Katrina, our fearless productivity coach. Are you on? Maybe not. Okay.
I don't think she's on.
Okay, she was just on the last one. Anyways, regardless, productivity coaching group is growing right now. I had the pleasure of doing script practice with them yesterday. We worked in some really good new scripts, some kind of higher level scripts too. We were talking about some equity scripts, not just doing the care scripts. And we can explain all that stuff if you guys have any questions around what that looks like to get people back in business. One thing I do want to share about the productivity coaching program is that we are seeing the people that are engaging in the program having closings come up a lot faster. We're also seeing the people that are in the program really kind of bonding together as a group. And I know you guys have seen some of the other stuff that they've been doing and putting out there in regards to door knocking a neighborhood together. Obviously, we know that's on hold right now. So give it a whirl, check it out. And I want to get rid of the drunk monkey that everybody thinks productivity coaching is only for new agents because it's not. I'm going to give a shout out to Chris Conrad. As you guys know, she's transferred down here from New Hampshire. She's fully engaged in the productivity coaching program right now. And I know her tenure in real estate has been a multi-million-dollar producer. And so, there's a value in this coaching. And I'll be honest with you guys, as you guys know, I was a former productivity coach. I've trained and run many productivity coaches, and I don't want to give Katrina too big of an ego. Yeah, you guys have a phenomenal productivity coach here. She's far better than I ever was as a productivity coach. So guys, take advantage of it and use it for 5%. It's well worth it. Let's go to Terry with compliance.
Let me unmute myself. Good morning, everybody. Just a real quick update on Command and submitting documents for review. Please know that you have to upload one document at a time per placeholder. In other words, they're working with real estate disclosure needs to go in that spot. The listing agreement needs to go in that spot. We cannot combine documents into one large PDF and upload them into the same spots over and over and over again. So, if you have any questions, obviously you could reach out to me, Sue or Rob. Make sure that you know how to use Command before your first listing, because I have ran into quite a few phone calls here recently. I've got a listing or something under contract and we're not sure how to use Command. So let's be proactive and try to get ahead of the curve. So when we have that business, we can get it turned in per real estate commission rules and regs within 3 business days. Thank you. That's all I got, guys.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. Let's go to Cece.
All right, I'll take my turn real quick. I'm going to give a shout out to Katrina too. In April, I paid 10 people in productivity coaching because they were in productivity coaching. We had a flood of folks in April celebrate first closings, first referrals because of that program. So big shout out there. So that's part of what makes my job fun. piggyback a little bit on Terry again this time. I actually have about 8 checks sitting in my office for people who haven't done commission requests. I can't pay you if you haven't done a commission request, and I really want to pay you guys. So as Terry mentioned, get those documents uploaded, scoot on over to the commission tab and go ahead and fill that out as soon as you get a ratified contract. That way, when the check shows up or the wire shows up in the bank, I don't have to wait. I can pay you right then. So that's what I want to be doing for you. That's my update.
Thank you, Cece. And again, as Terry said, if you guys have any questions about the commissions tab, go ahead, give Terry or Rob or even Sue a call to get that moving forward in the right direction, because get your money. All right, so we've got some training coming up. So I'm just going to kind of go through these fairly quickly. So as we all know, James Shaw is doing the pivot shift ahead at 8 a.m. Via Facebook Live. Scripts with Katrina every day at 8:45. I believe we're going to be moving that back to 9 o'clock. Katrina will be sending an email out to everybody in the PC group to let them know. The Thrive call at 11:30, there is a Zoom Thrive call for the region. It has now been changed just to Wednesdays, okay? It was every single day. It is now just Wednesdays. So please go ahead and make the change appropriately in your calendar. Bold Pivot at 2 p.m. I'm sure you guys are really happy that Pivot with PJ is gone, so you're welcome. Yeah, those of us that are taking Bold right now, and I myself am taking it as well, we'll all be on that Bold Pivot. So go ahead and get involved with that. There's over 41,000 people in our company registered for Bold Pivot as of this morning. That's awesome. Commercial real estate overview with Dawn. It's going to be tomorrow at 3. Coronavirus bingo challenge with Liz Sokol from America's Preferred tomorrow at 4. Red Day, guys, Red Day is going to be awesome. I know that we don't get to go out into the community and do the give back like we always do. Yet we're going to be able to have it here in the parking lot. So guys, come. We got a $25 Amazon gift card for whoever brings the best mask. So come, gloves, mask, what you're comfortable with. Blood One and Loaves for Fishes are both going to be here. Loaves for Fishes for can drive, canned food for those that are in need right now. Blood One strictly goes to all of the Atrium hospitals. So I'm going to be giving blood. You signed me up, right? Okay, yes. No, okay. I'm going to be signed up, so I'm giving blood. So you guys will get to see me woozy, if nothing else. And then don't forget, right after we finish that at 4 p.m., we're going to have our Zoom happy hour. Guys, if you're giving blood, eat a sandwich before happy hour, okay? We've got Agents Essentials. Then our Zoom happy hour for the following week. Memorial Day, the 25th, our office is closed, okay? So just note that on your calendar. That's Monday morning. And then PB meeting with Rob right before our team meeting on the 26th. Happy hour again at 4. We're having a lot of happy hours, guys, and I'm loving it. Listing forms with Terry Rogers, that's going to be announced, and we're also going to do a Zoom scavenger hunt, but that's a secret, so we're not going to talk about that right now. Some of you guys know Jill Gallagher. She was out of the Mooresville office. She is now a team leader in our region. She is also a CES instructor, along with myself, Christy Walker, Nadine Wynn, Ken Temple. You guys, she's got a lot of really, really great things to talk to you about the 6 personal perspectives. Those of you that go to a lot of the regional trainings, I know Matt, Becca, you guys show up at a lot of the regional stuff, which I'm very thankful for, and I apologize if somebody else that I'm not naming. Keller Williams has really got back into the 6 personal perspectives. This is going to be June 25th as of right now, virtually, non-virtually, maybe a combo of both. We'll see, to be determined. Guys, it's going to be a really, really worthwhile class to take. So just be mindful of that. Here's all the information on Red Day. As we all know, it stands for Renew, Energize, and Donate. And so we're going to do that. You know, we're going to donate our blood. We're going to donate our food. We're really going to get amped up about this and show that even a pandemic is not going to stop us from giving back to our community. I did a little video yesterday with the help of Rachel. So I hope you guys were able to see that. We're going to jump right into the Keith video right now. As you guys can see, there's a couple of his books, Keys to the Vault, Successful Business, The Road Less Stupid, and he's going to talk about some of those here. So we're just going to roll right away unless anybody has any questions. Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right, guys, check out this interview with Gary Keller and Keith Cummings. Maybe.
Hi, Keith. You okay? You look good.
I'm doing great. Thank you.
It's good to see you this morning. You look good. I'd love for you just to tell us just a second about yourself.
So I've been in Austin 51 years. I'm not 51 years old, which means I wasn't born here, but I got here as quick as I could. I came to school here in 1968 and stayed. I'm a business guy.
Now, you went to UT. You went to UT, and you got an MBA in accounting, right?
I did. I got an MBA. I got a degree in accounting, MBA in finance, and have actually went to work early on with two guys that became my mentors, a guy named Bob Hughes and Jack Crosby. Yep. And they were my mentors, and we were in the cable television business. And unfortunately, I morphed out of that into real estate in the mid 1980s, and that was good while it lasted, and then it didn't last long enough, and then it got really ugly.
Yeah.
So over the years, I've bought and sold and financed and turned around and owned businesses. And at this point, I spend the majority of my time in the teaching world. I write books and teach business owners business skills and tools. Help business people make the transition from operator to owner.
Yes. Well, the Keys to the Vault is a book that in my masterminds annually, I recommend to everybody. So a lot of people on this call will be familiar with that book. And in your most recent book, The Road Less Stupid, of course, is awesome. It's a must-read. So first, I just want to say thank you for all you do. You've been a voice of reason and insight around running a business for so long that in my mind, you're probably one of the most significant voices of our time. So thank you for that. Thank you. So let's just talk. We're in a crisis. And you, as you always are, you have been quick to draw your observations and share those. So when you're in a crisis, so let's just take this time here to talk about this. So in a crisis, how am I supposed to think? What give me the just overview of your thoughts. I'm in a crisis.
So probably thought number one is that there's a requirement in a crisis to shift priorities. In normal times, the priorities typically are strategic. They're very growth oriented. They are opportunistic. For most people in most crises, the idea has to shift from being strategic to being tactical. In a crisis, there's only two priorities. And the two priorities are number one, survive, and number two, stabilize. Survival requires cash. That's right. The instant you run out of cash, you've run out of oxygen. And stabilize requires cash flow. So the instant you can get to cash neutral, which means that you've stopped burning your dry powder, and simultaneous, that's survive, don't run out of cash, and stabilize is, let me get the amount of cash coming in aligned with the amount of cash going out. And normally, that requires some sort of cut. There's a great story, and everybody knows this story from a couple years ago. In 2017, there was a junior varsity soccer coach in Thailand that took his 12 teenage kids, his players, on a hiking expedition into some caves, and just outside of the main city in Thailand. And right before they left to go on this afternoon hike, they stopped at a convenience store and picked up some snacks. The snacks they picked up was the equivalent of 4 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So they get into the cave, it starts to rain. The rain that causes the water level to rise, it blocks the entrances and the exits. Everybody was following this worldwide on the news. And they were in the cave 12 days before they were discovered and 18 days before they were actually rescued. The rescue effort was huge. There were 10,000 people involved, 700 divers, 2,000 soldiers. So it was a major expedition, and most people remember. Here's the remarkable part of the story. At the end of 18 days, these 12 teenage boys still had 1.5 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches left. So the moral of the story is, if you don't know how long a crisis is going to last, you better make sure you can stretch what you do have as long as possible. I'll say that a different way. I'll put it on a bumper sticker. Current expenses consume future oxygen. Current expenses consume future oxygen. And I think the mistake people make when there's a crisis, and this crisis is unlike any crisis we've ever had before.
That's right.
And the reason is because it's not just an economic crisis, it's going to be a how you actually do business crisis.
That's right.
It's not gonna just bounce back to the way it used to look. And
It's not.
so how you do what you do makes this one unique. And my experience is, Gary, that most people are too optimistic about either the length of the recovery or what it's going to look like post-recovery.
They're hopeful, aren't they? They're not using reasoning. They're not actually looking at the situation. They're more hopeful than honest.
What you just said about being honest with the situation, I think is critical. A great example might be the Titanic. The original plan of every passenger on the Titanic was to get from England to the United States, and that plan radically changed the instant they hit the iceberg. And after the iceberg, there wasn't one person on the Titanic who was thinking about what they were going to have for dinner or what dress they were going to wear to the gala once they got to New York. So the change in priorities was dramatic because of the radical change in circumstances. And what I'm seeing over and over again is there's a lot of people that are cursing the iceberg, or they're screaming at the captain of the ship. And the reality is neither one of those stop the boat from sinking or ensure your safety and survival. So this wishful, hopeful thinking, relying on the law of attraction is insane. Only mentally unstable people walk out of their front door in the middle of a Cat 5 hurricane and curse the wind. So the key is you gotta face reality and play the hand you've been dealt if you expect to survive.
What mistakes do you think that people make right now? What are the one or two mistakes that you just see that people make?
You know what? I think there's a mistake of business as usual. So maybe an example on this would be an emergency room in a hospital. If you think about an emergency room in a hospital, there's huge amounts of level of intensity. There is a sense of urgency, a high degree of flexibility, and in terms of how people are approaching the problem. There is precise execution. Speed is your friend. There's constant in an emergency room, there's constant monitoring of vital signs. So think about an emergency room. In an emergency room, nobody's monitoring your BMI or your cholesterol. And the reason is because that stuff doesn't kill you. In an emergency room, they're monitoring the vital signs. And the vital signs are things like cash and cash flow and aligning expenses and cash coming in and revenue. All of that kind of stuff is the stuff that causes businesses to survive. And look, a lot of businesses had an underlying financial health condition before this whole crisis started. So they're more at risk than people who entered into this crisis healthy. Doesn't mean you can't get sick, but your odds of dying go down if you ran your business. Somebody told me years ago, they said, Keith, how you run your business during the good times dictates how well you'll survive the bad times.
That's exactly right.
And I think there's a lot of people that ran their businesses a little sloppy. They got out over the tips of their skis. They were a little chubby. They were out of shape financially. They'd taken on a little bit too much debt trying to get lucky. Their expenses weren't tight. And so as a result, now all of a sudden there's a meteor that hit Earth. That's the way I view this. It's like an asteroid hit Earth, and all of a sudden there's this giant unexpected problem. It doesn't mean there isn't a problem. It just means that business as usual is not the solution.
Yeah, people thought they had time. One of the things I observe over and over again is people, they project out that I've got plenty of time, and this exposes that, doesn't it? You never know how much time you have.
I think that's right. Look, a lot of people were aware that we were towards the end of one of the longest bull markets in history, that the economy had done well, that the politics were aligned around supporting business. And I think people thought they had kind of until the end of the year to figure out, their finances. And the reality is they weren't prepared for a sudden jolt of the system. And it's a lesson, candidly, that I had to learn the hard way 30 years ago when you and I both remember the 1980s and all of the drama around that. And I learned then that creating wealth is typically a slow and plodding kind of exercise. Losing money can happen in a heartbeat. But what it takes to actually create money requires, and create wealth is figuring out how to make it sustainable. I tell people all the time, look, I don't want to be rich for a day. I don't want to be in a great relationship for a week. What's required is, how do I need to think about this so that it's sustainable and I'm not yo-yoing back and forth between rich and poor?
Well, that's right. The thing that I constantly preach is that there's two types of people: those who get where they are and those that don't. And those that don't get where they are end up playing one game, and those that get where they are play an entirely different. They understand it. They realize something is happening that they can't control, but they can absolutely do whatever they can. Let me ask you a question. Talk to me about people for just a second, Keith. How should I be thinking about the people that might be working in my business right now?
Well, it depends, as you might expect that answer. For most of us, our people are our greatest asset. Our people sometimes are also our greatest anchor. I ask the question frequently to business owners, how many of your current problems would go away if 100% of your team was A players? And what most people tell me is the bulk of their problems go away if they've got all A players. I think in a crisis, the critical thing to do is to cut the fat, muscle if you need to, but avoid cutting the bone. If you cut the bone, you're going to limp for a long, long time. And the bone to me is who are the people that are going to be required to restart the engine. So the people, the bone is not necessarily the race car driver, although they're the ones that get all the headlines. The bone is the people that can actually build the engine and start the engine once this is over. So I think that for a lot of business owners, making the decision around people that remain with the business or get furloughed or temporarily laid off or permanently laid off, I think it's an opportunity to relook at the business. I'm going to give you a thought. I think everybody that's listening to me right now needs to do 3 audits of their business. Audit number 1 is an audit of expenses. So this is the log of lessons learned kind of opportunity. Where have the expenses gotten too chubby because you were in a growth and opportunistic mode prior to this crisis, or you just gotten a little fat? You gained some weight and you weren't in tip-top shape, and now there's a crisis and there's problems. So I think there's an opportunity to audit expenses. I think the second opportunity is to audit the processes. How we do, so it's an efficiency audit. How we do what we do, and you were talking about this a second ago, Gary, when you talked about doing some of the blending with Zooms and digital open houses and that kind of stuff. It's how do we do what we do so that it requires less time, fewer resources. We make fewer mistakes. So there's an efficiency audit that's available to us. And then finally, there's a capacity audit. Excess capacity is a killer in a crisis. So excess capacity typically builds up because during normal times, we're focused on saying yes, we're focused on growth, we're focused on being opportunistic. And so our organizations tend to get a little obese. There's an opportunity during a crisis to shed the excess capacity and get back to the core activities that actually make most of our money. And these 3 audits fall under a heading of reinvention. Where's the opportunity to reinvent your business as a result of the crisis? Some of that reinvention is going to be voluntary, and some of that reinvention is going to be forced on you by the market or by your competition. And I think only crazy people come through well, number 1, crazy people try to run their businesses the same during a crisis as they do normal times. That's nutty. And furthermore, crazy people say when there's this kind of crisis, that's going to change how we do what we do. I'll ask you the same question I ask other people. How long is it going to be before you go sit 15 inches away from a total stranger in a movie theater?
That's tough.
It's going to be a while. Now, it's going to happen, but it's going to be a while.
That's right.
And we're going to have all kinds of precautions. So oftentimes the reinvention is forced on us. But I think if we
Models are going to change. Models are going to change.
Models are going to change.
They're going to change. And in normal recessions, listen to what I just said. Normal recession, Freudian slip. Yeah, in a recession that is not of this making, business models also shift. But what you referred to a second ago, the movie theater is a perfect example, and that is we will not go back anytime soon to 100% of the way we did business. That's an absolute given. Take it to the bank. That's the way it's going to be. Do we know what it's going to be like? We don't. We don't know how they're going to solve the movie theater issue or the spa issue or the hotel issue, right? The grocery store, they're still trying to solve the grocery store issue. We don't know how they're going to do it. We do know that people are amazingly creative, right, Keith? They are going to figure this out. They're not going to just sit there and not figure it out. But when I look at the real estate industry, we have been begging the industry in all the different parts to come together and play as one to streamline the transactions, just an example. And because they haven't had to do it, and because they had fiefdoms, Keith, they didn't do it. Now, all of a sudden, for the first time in the history that I'm aware of, all those players are coming together because they realize if they don't streamline this and figure out how to do this digitally or virtually or in some way distanced, they're not going to be in business at all. So for the first time, really, bam, just like that in a month, they're all talking, right? This has been a conversation for going on 15 years, and they have not made amazing progress. I will promise you in the last 5 weeks, they've made amazing progress. And it's going to change. The industry will never look the same. I don't know what it's going to look like, totally. But I do know this. The spoils go to the individuals who think about it, who try to come up with answers, and begin to experiment with those answers before anybody else.
I agree. I think there's a huge opportunity. I think it's fraught with landmines. I don't think anybody has the answer. But I think if you'll face the reality of what the market is and adjust to the market, this is one of the great fundamental foundation blocks of building a business. That the foundation block is figure out what the market is and adapt to that.
Guys, mute your
Trying
phones,
to
please.
change the market and what they want is really, really difficult. And it's expensive. I think if we would simply say, what is the market? What do they want? What needs to happen for the market to feel comfortable? What has to happen for the market to be reassured? And then design our businesses so that we meet the market where they are, as opposed to us figuring out what we want to give them. Let's figure out what they want and then get it and give it to them.
You know, what's interesting is that in our industry, the resistance to using technology and exploring technology to its fullest has continued to amaze me a little bit, right? Until I remember that they resisted going from the MLS book to the computer, right? But all of a sudden, you really don't have a choice, do you? Those firms that invested in technology, those real estate agents who spent the time and got their business on an operating platform that allowed them to maximize their service opportunities, their value opportunities, their financial opportunities, are the ones that are going to win. They're going to win big, because look what you and I are doing today. Normally, you and I'd be sitting in a room in some really comfortable high chairs talking. And instead, we're sitting in comfortable, I bet you have a cushion under yours, by the way, cushion chairs, right? And we're on a digital platform having this conversation. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, look, it's a form of leverage. And oftentimes we're reluctant to migrate to higher leverage opportunities because it doesn't look or sound or smell like the way we used to do it. What sabotages reinvention is an attachment to the way it used to look. And the sooner that you can let go of this idea of it used to look this way, well, of course it looked that way because that's what the market wanted, that's the way the market wanted it to look. Yeah, we built our businesses in order to serve the market, and the market used to look one way and today it looks another.
That's right.
And the people that are going to get left behind are the people that don't make that transition to this is the new way it looks. I'm going to give you a great example. You're not going to like the example. Nobody likes this example, but nevertheless it's true. There's only one reason Kobe Bryant is dead. And the reason is that when it got foggy and visibility went to zero, the helicopter pilot kept flying. That's the only reason he's dead.
That's right.
The helicopter pilot, who's a good guy, did not have dials in the cockpit. So when times are great, we can look out the window of our helicopter, kind of see where the road and the river intersect, and we can make the turn. But when it gets foggy and visibility and you don't have any dials in your cockpit and you decide incredibly stupidly, when it's foggy, you decide you're going to keep flying and you can't see. Have you lost your mind? No wonder everybody died. They hit a mountain. And so here's the key. This is another one of these shifts. This is a business shift. If you've historically been flying your business by looking out the window and kind of measuring generally with foggy, kind of fluffy gut feel, the market is good, I'll be okay. And now all of a sudden it's foggy and visibility is low. And if you don't have dials to help you monitor how you're doing, dials on cash flow, specific metrics on, number of showings or whatever all that is for your business, if you don't have those kind of dials, I promise you, you will die because it's simply too foggy and you can't see. Therefore, it's an opportunity to change how you do what you do.
That's exactly right. What people haven't understood about technology is this is as bad as it gets and as least as it gets. The truth of the matter is that being a digitally based and physically enhanced business is the way the entire world is going. And what's interesting to me is what's happened to us right now is everyone, no matter who you are, is being forced to address that very issue. Before that, they thought they had a choice because the world was still physically based in wrestling with how they made a transition. The companies that were digitally started as digital, they don't have that problem, right? They imagine the world as you wake up in the morning and you start with a digital experience and you enhance it with a physical interaction or physical experience, right? The malls are a great example. They started and ended on a physical concept. And then they got upended by someone who imagined that there would be a digital first, physical second. Amazon, by the way, now owns Whole Foods. Amazon has bookstores. Amazon has quickie markets that you can go get stuff. They have learned, by the way, that they maxed out digitally. They maxed out. They were struggling to grow, and they understood there needed to be a physical component. But the physical-based individual is now being forced to deal with that, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. The environment has changed, and our job as business owners is to meet the market where it is. And if the market is different as a result of the asteroid that's hit, then let's change how we do what we do. Let's change how we engage with our customers. People still want homes. People are still going to move. People are still going to change jobs and upsides and downsides and everything in between. They want a different school. It's still going to happen.
Absolutely.
It's just going to happen differently. And there's going to be people that make that transition, and there's going to be other people that get stuck and where they are and the way it used to look, and are going to be unable to make the transition. I'll tell you this though, from a purely economic point of view, and this is probably from a business point of view as well, and you may disagree with this, Gary. In my opinion, the greatest risk that we face today is not the current quarantine. It's that this quarantine has happened, and it is probably going to be the protocol of the future for future kinds of issues that where the government or somebody says, ooh, there's a bug out there, there's a disease, and the protocol needs to be, let's shut this thing down for 30 or 60 or 90 days. And if that becomes the go-to response, then the key for us as business owners is, how do we build a business? How do we build a machine that can withstand these kinds of future asteroids?
Well, no, I don't disagree with that at all. In fact, I'm nodding my head going, amen, absolutely. We will think about how we did business in February as the good old days.
Yeah.
We will all refer to that as the good old days, because out of nowhere, a meteor hit us and we will never be the same. It will be now digitally based and physically enhanced. It just will be. That's just the way it's going to be. And we are going to be, these things are going to happen with more regular occurrence. And we're going to have to understand that they're going to come without warning. They're going to come without sirens. And our businesses have to be run in a way, our lives, our careers have to be run in a way that we are now prepared for that, right?
I think that's it. There's a great story about Lee Iacocca, who many of the people on your call have never heard of. Back in the day when I was young and in business, he was one of the American business studs. I mean, this guy was a true genius.
Guys, listen to this story. It's really good.
Lee Iacocca took over as CEO of Chrysler, which he had been the number 2 guy at Ford and got fired. And so he took over as number 1 guy of Chrysler in 1979. And Chrysler was in the process of failing. And it would needed to raise some money to be able to stay alive, and Wall Street had turned them down. Nobody would loan Chrysler any money. So Lee Iacocca said, well, there's only one organization with this much money that would loan it to us, and that's the United States federal government. So Lee gets on a plane and flies to Washington, D.C., and meets with 12 congressmen, and he lays out the problem. And he says, look, if you guys will loan us $1 billion, I think we'll make it. And Congress said, Lee, that has never happened. The United States federal government does not bail out private companies. And Lee looked at him and said, look, you're going to write a check. To bail us out is $1 billion. If you don't bail us out, we're going to go broke, and 475,000 people are going to hit unemployment. And the first year, you're going to write a check for $2 billion if we go broke. So you're going to write a check, and I'd suggest the check you write be the check to bail us out. So in 1979, for the first time, the United States federal government bailed out a privately held company. All right, now Gary, in the last 35, 40 years, how many privately held companies have the United States bailed out? It's in the thousands, because we broke that ceiling. That glass ceiling was broken, And the problem going forward is that now that our way of doing things is to put in place a quarantine that shuts down the entire economy. If that's now the way to handle this, rest assured, this will not be the last time. And so I think the machine we need to build, and it goes to exactly what you were talking about, or really what you've been working on for the last several years, which is, look, people are still going to buy and sell houses. They're still going to rent apartments. They're still going to move. But the old way of doing it is not going to be the way to do it in the future. And so we need to migrate how we do what we do in order to serve the market. And the key to this is, if you as a business owner don't build a business that can withstand future asteroids, this is going to be an exceptionally painful career.
That's right.
Because more asteroids are coming. They will hit Earth again. This is not the only time we're going to be locked down in our lifetimes.
That's right. The interesting thing.
Let's build a machine.
Yeah, that's a good note to stop on. You know, the thing is that we know recessions come regularly. We know that. Now, what's going to come in addition to that is it's going to be climate and it's going to be disease. And we know they're coming. To not acknowledge that and not behave in a manner as a business person or a professional, knowing that is insane. So I have one last question for you before we go. Why'd you shave your mustache off?
Okay, so I grew my mustache when I was 22 years old.
Yeah, me too.
Because I wanted to look older. I was 22 and running a pretty good sized company, and by the time I was 28 or 29, I had a
All right, guys, I don't think we need to listen to the mustache story about how old we look. So let's do real quick. Who's got needs and wants? What do we got? What do we need? What do we want? Anybody got any buyers looking? Conversations that I've been having, guys. My team back in the Valentine office put 5 under contract this weekend. It was like the floodgates were opened when Mecklenburg County said, okay, Friday, we're back to business. And so, and that's only 2 agents that did that. So I did have a conversation with another big team, Premier Property Solutions, and they told me they had 7 offers in this weekend, lost all of them to multiple offer situations. And so that just tells you guys, everybody's back and going right now. So what do you need? What do you want? What do you got listing wise? What do you got buyer wise? Talk to me.
I need cash for my seller.
You need cash for your seller?
Yeah.
Talk to us about that, Chelsea.
$130,000 listing. We got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths in Charlotte off of 85. Just looking. We're probably going to do 2 open houses this weekend. Just if anyone has any investors or people like that.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Chelsea. What else?
Hey, PJ.
Hi. What's up?
Hey there. Sorry. Hey, I need a ranch, preferably a ranch house in Cornelius, Huntersville area. This side of Mooresville would be fine as well, with 0 entry. Master on the main, if it's a 2-story, would be fine as well. So if anybody's got any listings coming up or know of anybody that's considering, please let me know. I'd appreciate
it. What's your price point?
It honestly really varies, just depending upon what the house has, but anywhere from, let's say, $250 to $500. Did you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit there, so I'll just repeat it. She said anywhere from $250 to $550, depending.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thanks, PJ.
Gotcha, SJ. What else, guys?
We have somebody looking for a ranch. They're looking South Charlotte, like Indian Trail, Matthews, up to $450 also. Master Down could work too.
Okay, who is that? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Kay and Brian.
Okay, I'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
What else? All right, guys, as always, I want to thank our core vendors, McNaught and Clements, LK and Title, Carolina's Home and Auto Insurance. And guys, there's a link for all of our social media stuff. Get up on it. Guys, don't forget, Thursday is Red Day. And if you guys are feeling cautious because you don't want to go out in public and groups of more than 10 and gathering and all that stuff, rest assured, I am not in charge of any of that stuff. Blood One is taking care of that, so it is going to be handled the right way. So guys, please don't let that stop you from coming out, donating, doing something great for our community. Right now, more than ever, is when our community needs us. I apologize for being a few minutes over. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I love you. Be safe. Have a great rest of your week. And let's get back to business as normal. All right? Make it a great one, guys. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.